Hi, my name is Brian Caldwell, and I want to give you some techniques to practice for playing the bass to get in your playing more smooth and just basically getting rid of some frustrations that you may have early on playing, and wanted to teach you some proper techniques so you don't have that. First thing is, while you're alternating your two fingers to play, the key with it is they both need to sound the same. For instance, if we have it sounding like this, and your desired effect is to have those smooth, which if you cannot tell, the second one is very hard, and we want to eliminate that. So we're going to take some time to just practice alternating between these fingers, and you're going to work on it until it's smooth. If you need to use a metronome or something to keep time and take something that's very slow, I'm talking 60 beats a minute slow, that's where you need to start at, because you need to master this, because if you're going to play any kind of up-tempo music, a lot of times bass players are playing eighth notes. So you've got to be able to master playing eighth notes or 16th notes even. So we're just going to take some time on each one of the strings, getting it where it's smooth and you're comfortable with, because it's not only important to learn it on your E string, on your A string and your E string, it's also important to be able to play all four of your strings if you're playing a 4-string bass, or 5 if it's 5-string. So by just taking the time, and that's just playing with the right hand only. All I'm using my left hand for while I was doing that was just to keep some of the notes muted, or strings muted that we're not playing. But we're focusing strictly on the right hand. Now you can take this same exercise of trying to play evenly, instead of just going down one string at a time, you can skip some strings just to start practicing, because playing as you advance, you're going to skip some strings at times. So, okay, so what we can do to add a little variation is we can take, starting on the E, and I'm going to skip down to the D. Then you can take from the E and then jump all the way to the G. And any kind of variation you want to do in this. But the key is being able to consistently play. If I want to count eighth notes and doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, or some kind of system where you're consistently playing a pattern. If it's eight eighth notes, where you can go back and forth between strings. And again, this is just the right hand. I'm not even bothering with my left hand, because it is that important that you get the technique with your right hand. Now the next progression you'll take from that is playing some fretted notes. And you're wanting to be able to just smoothly change from one string to the other without having it buzz and rattle. And you need to start it slow. If you use a metronome, that's a great thing to use to start it off slow and doing that. And you need to be able to do it where it's clean and not speed it up until that's achieved. So if you're doing this, and you've got this just rhythm that you're wanting to play it really fast, you need to take it really slow and get it where it's smooth and you're getting this kind of play. And what you don't want to have is doing this, where your second finger is played heavier than your first finger, which is pretty common with people. So you want to have it where it's even, changing strings, and you're also not buzzing on the frets. So you want to, if you're having issues with buzzing, it may not be that you're not holding down hard enough. You may be right up to the fret. So you want to try to stick in the middle of the fret, so you just get away from your not having playing on the metal and getting this great great sound, where you're playing on top of it, or you're not playing hard enough. So, it's not necessarily you have to just be bearing down on it. You should never have the point where you're holding on to it and it's hurting. But there's a happy medium in between these frets, and typically if your bass has dots on the every other fret or so. You can use that as a guide to have your finger there in the middle of it to do that. And if you're buzzing, so again, we're going to take this of just being able to play smooth eighth notes. Okay, so we're also going to take one last technique on this, is being able to play your scales or any bass line where it is smooth. Particularly the slower songs you play, it's really important that it's smooth, that it's not choppy, the notes aren't really short. So we're looking for, if I'm going to play quarter notes or so, I'm looking for this really smooth from one note to the next. I'm keeping my finger down until I play the next note and get it really smooth. So I'm trying to achieve this of a smooth note. You know, there's your trying to play it smooth. Now here would be what you're trying not to do, which is that's what we're trying not to do. And if you're trying, the faster you play it, you don't notice as much the smooth transition because you're playing the note so fast. But when it's really slow, it's really obvious and very noticeable. If you're wanting to play just some of the slower pieces, because you're going to play every kind of tempo, so you know, try it. And if it's got to be super slow, that's fine. Because the way it works is if you can play it, if you can start a tempo slow and then gradually build it up and be able to play this bass line that you're wanting to play, that's going to be the effective way to do it, and it's going to keep you from getting frustrated. If you start off slow, build up to it, versus trying to start off at the tempo of the CD that you're listening to, or if you're playing with your iPod, listen to the song. So you need to start slow and work and build it up. That way you won't be frustrated and you'll be a far more effective bass player.